And action. All right. I'm actually filming a couple all at the same time. So if I have the same clothes, it's not because I wear, actually I do wear the same clothes, but not 2 days in a row. So anyway, this question is from Jessica. Jessica had a great question. She suffers from bowel problems. She suffers from possible allergies to food. She suffers from poor sleep. She's a mom with a couple kids and working full-time. And she also suffers from possibly thyroid underactivity. So it's like, and maybe even a little bit of premenopausal issues. So we got a whole bunch of different organ systems all hitting at the same time. So which one do you chase? I don't like hitting all of them at the same time, although it's been said that the thyroid, the adrenals, and the ovaries kind of have to be addressed together. But can you imagine doing herbs or medicines for thyroid, herbs for the adrenals, and then medicines for the ovaries? If a side effect happened, I wouldn't know where to start. So I know my patients are suffering, but I usually try to say, get those coaches in line. Nutrition coach to help guide you, a movement coach or activity coach to help push and inspire, and then a mindful coach to help you get through this stuff. The last video I just did for Kevin, I said a mindful coach is helpful to get you through the withdrawal state of getting off of bad food and getting onto good food. Well, having 5 organ systems all screwed up at the same time, it's going to take a lot of patience, especially with my moms who also work. God bless you guys. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how my wife does it, but I just thank God that you're able to do so. But if it's getting to the point where you're suffering, got to call the husbands in, got to call the reinforcements, the mother-in-laws, the moms. we have to be able to heal if we're going to be able to heal ourselves, if we're going to be able to heal and watch over others. So obviously you all know that trying to manifest sleep when you have diseases all uncontrolled, difficult, but if we can at least get you that mindful coach, sometimes by giving the building blocks of mindful practice, 10 minutes to 30 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes to 30 minutes at night, has a routine, has something easy to do, a drop into. Even if you don't notice the effects of it, it will help in trying to manifest this getting through which disease process is going to be blossoming first. It's kind of like my fibromyalgia sufferers. It's like, which trigger point do you attack first? Because if you attack one, you know the other ones are going to blossom. And then if you take care of all the trigger points, the bowels are going to flare up. So it's like you put one hole in here and the other ones always leak out. Well, I always say, we expect all the diseases to flare up. We just batter one down and control it and keep it stable and move on. Even if these other ones are screaming, we make a decision on one organ system and keep on addressing it, and then hopefully it stabilizes to a semi-functional state, and then we can address the next one as far as a priority. It's just too confusing to go back and forth. This one flares up, we pay attention to it, and then this one flares up, so we forget this one. This one flares up, pay attention to it. So that's the way the organ systems work, whether it's the adrenals, the thyroid, and the ovaries, or it's the muscle system, or it's the nervous system. So that's how I would take care, in a nutshell, that's how I would take care of a poly-organ failure or organ dysfunction kind of patient. And it's easy for me to say because I'm on the doctor's side and you guys are suffering with pain every minute until the next visit, which is a week away. But I've been there before. I suffer from fibromyalgia. I remember getting my trigger point used to be up here and down here and a couple others, in addition to depression and a couple other things when I left my first hospital. But I was able to finally control it. And thank God I was steered in the right direction to learn all this stuff that I'm teaching you guys. But I've been there before, and it's not fun. It's like, which one do I chase now? It's so depressing. So hang in there. Get the coaches on your side. You might not be able to afford a coach. Yeah, it might seem like it's just not tangible, but you must have somebody behind you. So beg, borrow, and steal. Barter. Do something. Find somebody in the church or in the community that might be able to watch over you. Find another mom who's well-versed with meditation or some kind of activity coaching or some kind of nutrition knowledge. So if you get them on your side, you can always, if you falter with taking care of the first problem, you can always bounce back on one of these coaches and help strengthen our intention until we beat down and control the first disease process. And then you can work on the next disease process. And if the first one pops up again, you can get the coaches involved and think outside the box. Sometimes you can have coaches involved that are covered by insurance, as far as physical therapy, as far as nutritional, as far as a psychologist. So you can do things in the insurance world as long as I can refer you to the right people and they agree. Or you can do things in the non-insurance world and kind of ask or utilize the community around you. But either way, don't do it alone. I can't express more the value of having a coach behind you to give the moral support, or at least think for you, because when you're suffering from 5 different disease processes and you're trying to get some sleep because your kid's sick, you're not going to be able to think, you won't be able to process. And sometimes if you can't problem solve properly, you'll take the shortcut, which is not healthy. And you might not be able to foresee the way out of the problem for all of them or for one disease process. So if you bounce it off a coach that you're going to be meeting with on a regular basis, and they review your journal or review your progress, they can say, oh, no, that's not normal, let's try this now. Or I'm going to change the plan to something else. Or we're going to free up more calories now and allow you to go with more protein now versus being very tight with your carbohydrates or your calories per day. So, or a mindful coach can tell you, okay, we're not going to do the mindful practice, we're going to talk about heart health, or we're going to talk about just grounding and dream states. So that's why it's really nice to have these guys around, and I trust them 110%. I think that's the way my patients make their successes, and I think that might be where you, if you haven't invested in that, try to chip away at your disease process. So Jessica, I feel for you because you have so many problems, but I think if we just look at one problem at a time and concentrate and try to ignore how these other guys are screaming out, we might have better success. And allowing enough time for the one problem to melt down and get into control. And hopefully we can move on to the next one. But this will help. Good question. Just hang in there. Bounce back any questions, and maybe we can find another solution or another way in. Hopefully this helps other people, but subscribe to me for other questions, and send other questions if you want to via my YouTube page or on Facebook.